Okay, so, hey, first of all, good morning, everybody. It's a great privilege for me to be here today. My name is Carlos. I have the privilege of running for Microsoft all the device sales for North America, both US and Canada, and running all kind of devices. So from the moment that you decide to buy an Xbox for yourself, or for your kids, or for your grandsons, for the same moment that you decide to buy any kind of computer, PC or PC equivalent, or a server for your company, et cetera, et cetera. So all kind of devices running any kind of Microsoft service and all the services related, including Office, for example, and all the Azure-based services are under my responsibility for the North America. It is approximately a $5 billion business for the company, which is growing and growing all across the board, including all the PCs, servers, software, services, etc. So hey, I'm probably going to deliver the 120th keynote that you listen about digital transformation. And it is challenging because I'm not going to tell any word that this is happening or any kind of thing. I'm going to try to help you to understand what is our point of view. And I will give you another different dimension, which is how we are transforming Microsoft. Because at the end of the day, we are also a company with our internal systems, our internal challenges, all of our resistance internally to make the change, and we are changing ourselves too. So I would like to share with you, first of all, some of the things we do on the cloud, a quick 1-minute video, and then we jump in.
It is time to move to a more secure, more productive, more modern enterprise. It is time for digital transformation.
This internal collaboration that we get with Office 365 ultimately drives better content creation.
Our cybersecurity strategy includes protecting our network and our data. Microsoft gives us that capability and the ability to remotely manage the mobile devices.
Our end-user computing strategy is that our customers can access CLP IT services from any device, anywhere, anytime. To achieve this, Windows 10 has been the game changer.
What's exciting about Windows 10 and the Microsoft Cloud, it's enabling our engineers to do more and achieve
more. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing that I want to make before even getting to the point is to be grateful and to thank nGage for all the help that we are running till this moment. So first of all, I wanted to call out that nGage is our #1 Microsoft licensing partner at this moment. All the managed service has been the first one launching device as a service, probably the most successful launch around the world in the device as a service strategy. Many people is trying to do it, only a handful of companies are nailing it, and nGage is the #1 that got it in North America. Next one, yes, they won in the IoT, the Internet of Things world. They won our Partner of the Year in 2016, Partner of the Year of 2017 on the App Developer, and of course they are our best partner in the Microsoft Surface Hub that we just announced that our second generation, way more cheaper and much more flexible for different kinds of usage. So first of all, really thank you to nGage for hosting me today. Let me get started. Where did we get this company starting from? Honestly, I'm in my early 40s, so probably I was born, or probably not, I was born almost at the same time that the company was created. And the mission was to create and to put a computer on every desk in the world. And that objective looked pretty challenging in that time, but honestly, it was done almost 2 decades ago. So what we did is that a few years ago, under Satya Nadella, our new CEO, we decided to change our mission, which is to empower every person and every organization to achieve more. And we take it really seriously, because what we think is doesn't matter which are the platform that you are willing to use. doesn't matter what kind of software services are you implemented, doesn't matter the device you are using. Our mission is to help you to be more productive both in your personal and your professional life. That is one of the reasons, because in the last less than 4 years, you have a full Office suite for iOS, for being able to use it in your iPad or iPhone, etc. And we are making all our developments cross-platform, even being Windows agnostic. The next thing, yeah, this is not the first time that happens. You know really well, we had a steam industrial revolution that helped us for the transportation. We have the electricity in the 1870s that helped us not to differentiate between day and night. We had all the electronic revolution in the 70s, coming from the late 40s, in which data and data processing started to bring some news. And this is the area where I want to focus on. This is the new digital transformation, which is changing the way we are making the business as companies, and also we are making new services that we can provide. So first of all, when you think about 86% of the CEOs of the SP 500, what are you thinking at this moment? Yeah, the first top of mind is about the technical advances and how they are going to leverage all the technical new features and new capabilities in their business. Unfortunately, that comes to many of us in this table trying to understand what we can implement in our businesses to make us more productive. So then our mission, remember, comes back to the mind. Well, of course, you see many of the other things which are happening in the world that we don't ignore, and we have a really important social consciousness in the company about the resource scarcity, the climate change, demographic shifts, the way that many of the richness is divided and it is spread about the world, and how we can try to help to leverage that. So our way of telling the story, it is those two circles, the intelligent cloud and the intelligent edge. I will go to the two of them and telling you what is the important of each of them and what do they mean. But the most important thing is what is the meaning for your businesses, for your companies, for your school districts, etc. At the end of the day, it's everything about the same. It's how do I engage my customers? How do I transform my products? How do I optimize my business? And how I empower my employees? And I will make different mentions to this, but let me give you in the more fun part a couple of stories. I no longer sell software. And my team, which is around 1,300 people in North America, doesn't sell software any longer. What I do is to go to many of the companies and try to understand their business. There are two examples. Let me give you things that have happened in my personal life in the last 3 weeks. Number one, I don't know how many of you were playing with kids with these little toy cars. And one of the main ones that I most liked was these big yellow trucks, which are the dumpers in the mining. I know you know what I mean, the ones that the wheels are this tall. Okay, you know how much does it cost, one of those trucks? Throw a ball. Guess. No. A little bit more. Okay, close to $3 million. And you think that they're buying like a Chevrolet or a BMW in a dealer, you go there and you order it? No, it doesn't work that way. The truck is specially built, depending on how many hills it's going to be climbing, in what mine, what is exactly the usage, what kind of mineral you're extracting, what is the load, etc. So all those trucks that you see, that by the way are incredibly difficult to operate and also incredibly difficult to maintain, not only buying them, they are made custom order, all of them. Now, there are no more than 3 real manufacturers making it. And one of them, the provider of the engines, is Caterpillar. By the way, Caterpillar in the US, I lived in the UK before, so it was Caterpillar. Okay, but then one of the language changes that you gotta live when you change countries. Okay, but one of the things that I learned, and I was flying there, and we were trying to see, okay, how do we make a digital transformation for a company? Believe me, we were not talking about Azure services. Now, what do you do? How do we put ourselves in the middle and help you? And the way that was a ton of fun is that this thing is based on really big blueprints and requirements that go up and forward continuously between the end customer, the mining company many times, or the people that is leasing the truck to a mining company, and the manufacturer. There were no less than 700 interactions between the end customer and the manufacturer during the 14 months that a full truck takes to be fully built. All those things, 2017, US, were done, most of them, through FedEx Blueprint, coming back and forward with the maps. That is real. A $3 million order with a ton of people involved was done mainly through 700 interactions, sending back and forward blueprints. What we did was pretty easy, was to understand what we can do, and not only giving tablets or computers to everybody, know what is exactly the process. What are those modifications for? How many of them needs to be authorized by the manufacturer, the end customer? What is the flow of the information that you need to run? And that is where we sit with the customer, and we try to build a solution, and partnerships like Keysight are really relevant to us to understand which are the devices involved, but the services, the software, and the full solution. And believe me, we make, at this moment in the US, we make more than $35 billion of total revenue in the company. A big part of it is coming from these kind of solutions. You no longer go to a company and sell 17,000 licenses of Windows, 15,000 of Office, and 3,000 servers. It doesn't work that way. So we have to push ourselves also to transform and the way that we see. Other one example, and sorry, I'm derailing, but I think we have more than enough time, is about agriculture. I come from a South of European country where agriculture is pretty relevant. And the thing that you had is that you had the really, really good old guy going to the field, understanding what is the right moment for seeding, planting, watering, etc. It is no longer that way. I was barely 2 weeks ago in a big plantation in the south of Dakota, and we were evaluating what is the right way. What do we do now? And believe me, super easy. There is a drone that is flying and sending the heat maps, and is sending the picture of the colors, the different colors of a huge plantation that we were managing, and it decides which are the areas in the different plantation we send all those data to the cloud, we make an analysis, and then we propose to the farmer what should be the right area of working that day. What is really to harvest? What is really to replant? What needs more water? We make all that analysis. By the way, no incremental cost, an easy system, perfectly implemented. And that is the way. We didn't talk about we're going to sell you whatever services on the cloud or whatever devices. No, this was the guy that told us, okay, I'm managing, in this case, is a family company, pretty famous, that they are specialized in many different agricultural products, and it was almost a $75 million family business. And the owner told us, okay, I'm struggling because there is a moment in which I cannot scale more, and this is getting pretty intensive. So how can I get modern technology to transform my company and my business? 75-year-old gentleman, been in the business for more than 50 years. So those are the kind of things that we can talk about, the digital transformation, the innovation, the life cycle, whatever. Those are the real things which are happening. So I think that later I'm meeting with some of you one-on-one. So we got to try to find, okay, what is the key things that I need to do to transform my own company and my own business? And by the way, Microsoft is willing to help in that thing because, again, it is our mission. So let me tell you a few more things on this cycle and what do we do? Oh, I went the wrong way, sorry. Okay, the intelligent cloud. The intelligent cloud is the brain of this story. And I can talk to you about Azure, and probably many of you know Azure, but the same way that you know AWS or Oracle Cloud or Google Cloud. Azure is our world's computer. Those blue dots are where our main data centers are at this moment. We are covering more than 70 regions worldwide. And by the way, we are covering 71 because we just launched our new generation of data center last week, which we didn't launch. In fact, we sank it because we put it in a big container and we put it in the bottom of the ocean, just north of Scotland. Why? Because we want to try. One of the main areas that we are concerned in the way that we want to take care of the planet is of the cooling power that we need to keep our data centers. So we put our full data center. It is a container that was, in this case, 40 meters, so almost 110 feet long, a big cylinder with all the Microsoft beautiful logos and white color. And we sank it almost at 150 meters, or around 500 feet depth in the north of Scotland. Why? Because we want to be using all the, of course, the lower temperature of the water in that area to keep it cool. And we are getting the energy to run it by solar panels, which are in a floating rig, and also from the windmills that there are in the area of the north of Scotland, and also the tide energy. We are trying. We don't know if it will work well, but we're investing a ton of money, time, and resources to see if it really works, because we need to transform the business. It is not only putting data centers in the north of the US or in the border with Canada, trying to run in lower temperatures. It's also trying to find the right way and the right balance. about how we can invest. These data centers, by the way, and I will go a little bit later into more detail, are super important to us for one direction, because those will help you to decide where you want to keep your data, what kind of processing, what kind of balance you want to run, what is the closest location that you need to be running your business on. All that Azure world is the thing that we are building at this moment. I'm sure how many of you use any kind of Azure-based services in your companies? Love it. Okay, so how many of you use any kind of AWS-based services? Love it too. You will come to the light, don't worry. The important thing is that both companies, and of course Oracle and Google, are helping in the digital transformation that at the end of the day is close to our mission. Azure, as you know, apart from being in much more locations, is the only one that is having, or is the one that is having the most certifications for security. We work for the Pentagon, we work for the NSA, we work for NASA. We work for all the high security and high-end needs that you can have from your processing and computing. So, of course, when you talk about cloud, there are 4 topics: to be more productive, to be hybrid, to be intelligent, and to be trusted. Security, I don't have to dedicate more time. You know it perfect, you know what we are talking about. Hey, this is one of the big things that we need to work with Windows 10, and we need to work with new devices, and we need to work with new services. It is fundamental that we are better equipped for security. But I want to go a little bit deeper on hybrid, because that is the reality that I'm discovering when I travel around the country. It is what I'm discovering that we need to implement. So let me go a little bit deeper on hybrid. First of all, I understand that on hybrid, many of you know what Azure Stack is. And let me recap 10 seconds on the hybrid concept, because many people tell you hybrid. I want to clarify what hybrid is for me. Hybrid is to implement the cloud services or any cloud technology in your companies using different platforms. So there are different levels of hybrid. Hybrid can be used in AWS and Azure at the same time. That gentleman raised his hand twice when we were talking Azure-based services and AWS services, and that is fantastic. Hybrid is also using a private cloud that is sold by any MSP, any provider, like Rackspace or GoDaddy if you are in a lower SMB, and also having AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud Indoor Services. But hybrid too, which is the important thing for me, is what we call Azure Stack, which is to leverage and to use your existing data servers and also then mixing with cloud-based services. That kind of hybrid can respond many different usage. Hey, you know what, Carlos? We have a mainframe that has been running a core application for my company for the last 17 years. I'm not willing to move it. It is too dramatical, too big investment. I have that platform running perfectly. I'm not going to change it. What is hybrid? I keep my mainframe, I keep the application, and I use the Azure-based services for another applications or part of that application, the disaster recovery, the backup services, etc. I make it other way. Another hybrid. Hey, Carlos, I'm super happy with the idea of moving everything to the cloud, but at the same time, I have a huge data residency issue. Hey, in Canada, we have a big thing. The Canadian government didn't allow us to move the data out of the country, and we didn't have a data center in Canada. So what do? We created a data center in Canada to be able to cover that hybrid solution that we are building and we are creating, so you can have the data wherever you want to have it. And then the computing capacity, you can decide what it is, or you can leverage and balance. Third one, and pretty possible, what about the environments in which Azure Stack is really good, is that mix that you need to run? What about a cruise ship? What about an oil rig? When you have bandwidth lack of capacities. When you talk about to Costa Cruise or one of the big cruising companies on Norwegian, then the challenge that you have at this moment is that you cannot have all the cloud-based computing capacity that is managing all the systems in the ship. You cannot have it connected to the cloud continuously. To have in a really high-end internet connection is too expensive, and many times doesn't work properly through satellite. And you cannot mess around with the water cleaning facility inside the boat, or the lighting systems, or the way you are balancing all the water that is on bottom, keeping the balance of the boat. All those things are Azure-based services in the cruise ship that hopefully you're getting with your families during the summer. So what we are doing is to create a mirror of the cloud environment through Azure Stacks or servers, which are based on the cruise ship or in the oil rig, and are keeping exactly and emulating all the cloud-based services. And when there is connectivity, it goes to the cloud. When there is no connectivity, I'm rebalancing and making it offline. So that is the Azure Stack concept and all the concept of hybrid. Remember, hybrid can be my mainstream, my main server. I'm keeping it. Hybrid can be I'm using different providers and I want to balance. Hybrid can be I don't want to be connected online the whole time. Hybrid can be I have issues with data residency. There are many hybrids, and the important thing is that honestly, the only one that is giving you the scenario of having the hybrid with local servers and having that capacity of making the local same portal, same management console, same services, the only one that is giving you that functionality is Azure. Good. What about the Intelligent Edge, which is, and I'm wrapping up, we are close to okay on time.
Our fans are some of the most avid fans you'll see in any sport, and our fans want more data, more insights, more connection to their driver. From the moment we take the green flag, the pressure's on. Our race directors are watching everything that's happening on the racetrack. And it's very important for us to be able to quickly make decisions all the way to the end of the checker flag.
When you look at everything that's going on during a NASCAR race, there's tons of data that's coming at us from a number of different directions. The Microsoft Race Management app has allowed us to really put that into one platform. And so instead of looking at 5 or 6 different computer screens, different television feeds, we're able to look at one spot, collect as much data as possible in real time.
Microsoft has really ushered in that next era of technology for us. Apps that we're building with mobile inspection, paint scheme, and race management. It's really given NASCAR a boost of confidence, knowing that we've got a great team at Microsoft that's really taken the time to come in and understand our pain points and challenges and helping us get to that next level of technology.
3, 2, 1. For our officials, it's important to get all of our disparate data down to a single user interface running on Windows 10.
When I think about the future with NASCAR and Microsoft, what excites me and what we've been able to do over 18 months with the new race management system application, the partnership with Microsoft has been a game changer for the sport. I think 5-10 years from now, what the sport could look like and what this partnership could look like with the Windows 10 platform and Azure, I think we've just scratched the surface, and ultimately that's going to benefit our race fans, which is a tremendous opportunity for us.
So these are the new trends that are happening in the workplace. And the workplace can be that beautiful circuit, or the workplace can be a more standard office. But let me share with you the 3 or 4 things that are happening. I want to just speak on 2 of these. Well, first of all, the way they're working and collaborating has nothing to do with the way that we used to work. The way that you collaborate in teams has nothing to do. You need to face that reality of the business transformation, that the work is no longer individual and shared that way. It is much more in the group collaboration, live collaboration, and yeah, that can be done with several productivity softwares, not only Microsoft Office, but I think that we are the really leading one on that. Second one, I want to share with you also my experience in this multi-generational teamwork. So as I think I shared with some of you before the meeting, so instead of only being European and living in the UK sometime, I was living in Toronto, in Canada, for 3 years of my life with my family. And one of the things that I ran there in the Microsoft subsidiary was to start bringing younger people into the company. So one of the things that we challenge as a company in this transformation is that, okay, we want to go to college and get the new college hires. And between us, I mean, in full confidence, when you ask a 22-year-old girl or gal where he want to work or where she want to work, they tell you Facebook, Google, Square, or I want to have a non-profit and work around the world. Okay, so those are the main things. And then you got to say, okay, how the hell do we attract talent to our company? And one of the main challenges that we discover is that the way that many of the younger generational workers take decisions about where to work is different. And we installed absolutely different policies, telling them, you know what, we're going to start giving you at least 40 hours of paid volunteer service per year. You know what? We want to invest this amount of money in the charities that you decide. You know what? We're going to give you a totally open and flexible work environment. Not only coming, in our case, to the Mississauga, if you know Toronto, to the Mississauga office, we're going to give you 3 or 4 working pods that you can be working and be productive. But most and the foremost important is that we want to be able to listen and to be able to mix the different cultures and the different ways of working of different generations. And that is something that you need a ton of flexibility in the way that you work, in the way you provide the platforms, and also in the way you provide devices and the way that different generations work. And that is something that is a big trend in the marketplace. By the way, in the US, by 2022, more than 50% of the workforce will be under 30-year-old. So this is happening. And I'm no longer there, unfortunately, but I can tell you, this is going to be happening, and these younger generations take decisions in a different way and work in a different way. We can try to push them to work our way, or we can try to adapt our companies and our workforce to the way it is going to be more successful, and we're going to be able to attract more talent. Of course, transparency sharing was coming to that philosophy that I was sharing with you, but this is for me the perfect segue to share with you, again, I'm going the wrong way, why we are thinking about devices. So hey, of course, I'm a device seal guy, so I was taking a look to all the things that I see on the table when I came, and I saw all the beautiful MacBook Airs, and also some of the Surface, and some of the different OEMs, Dell, HP computers, and I wanted to share with you, first of all, what we need to have, even being device and brand agnostic, it is modern devices. And what is a modern device? It's to have a good design, to have performance and security, and to being able to bring new experiences. So none of you, almost none of you here is using your devices in a convertible way, or inking, or writing directly on the screen. There are many things that we need to start using proactively, and using the new features that devices are bringing to us. Why do I tell you that? Well, first of all, because some of these new technologies, like the 2-in-1, the SSDs, hard disk, the long battery life, having 10 hours. I don't know you, I flew last night. I'm flying back tonight home. I didn't bring my charger. I don't need it any longer. My HP device has between 10 and 11 hours of battery. I know it is more than enough for the flights and for the time I'm going to be working here. Of course, precision touchpads. I don't know if you saw, Asus last week presented that the trackpad is also a screen, so you use it as a normal mouse or trackpad, but at the same time you are giving data and icons over there. Awesome. Thin and light, again and again and again. My KPI at this moment is under 2 centimeters, so 19 millimeters or less is ideal, and we are working really actively to have devices under 2 pounds, so 19 millimeters under 2 pounds with 10 hours of battery. Sounds beautiful. Voice experience, the Windows Hello, I don't know, our study tells that we dedicate 20 minutes per day to all the login and password system in our computers. We develop a system using fingerprints or using Windows Hello, simply recognizing your face. And it works, and it is secure, and it is loading all the security features of Windows. Of course, the screen and the thin bezels, but interesting thing is that those are the satisfaction levels when you talk about these new features in the device. You know that the product satisfaction is measured between 0 and 200, 200 being the maximum. When you go to a pre-installed modern Windows PC, Windows 10 PC, you go to 163. When you go to a Chrome OS device at this moment, it's 144. When you were having a MacBook Air, it was in 160. And before the old Windows or the older versions of Windows in non-modern devices, we were in 148. So the net is that also for the users in your company, when you're giving them a good device, the experience is much better, the loyalty is better, and even they are starting to use much more new features that can generate additional value to your companies. Of course, you will come to me and you will tell me, okay, Carlos, that sounds beautiful, but what about the cost? And I wanted to share with you, okay, some of the ideas. First of all, if you go really high-end, what we call Premium Pro, and I put you the ones that are being for sale at this moment and the functionalities, Dell, Samsung, Lenovo, Panasonic in the tough book, HP Elite, that is the one that I use, and it is there if you want to take a peek. But then you also have the mainstream, which is between $500 and $800, most of them. But then the interesting thing to me is that you have that lower row, and you have awesome devices which are having hello, which are having touch, which are having different S mode for $299. And you can go already to those devices. Light, thin, works properly, and you can do it. And those are all our partner ecosystem or our OEMs that make different Windows devices. But of course, we have our own ones too. And we have this little family going from HoloLens to Surface Book to Surface notebook, laptop, and our big hub on the top. And we are also trying to innovate and trying to bring. By the way, we are not a huge OEM. We are not a super enormous PC manufacturer. We created Surface to try to innovate and to bring the ecosystem and all the OEMs, to push them to bring new designs and to understand what could be done in the PC ecosystem. And that was important to us. So last but not least, for all the ones working in the IT ecosystem, I wanted to share with you a little opportunities. All of you know that after Windows 7, or from Windows 7 on, we have what we call a telemetry system. That is the one telling us continuously when a device is activated, when it is working, if everything is connected to the services, it is getting the last update, so we keep every device up to date in security or any threat. Let me share with you only one data, which is not confidential. In the month of May, in the US only, SMB space, no enterprise, not corporation, we have 46 million active PCs that are more than 4-year-old and are running Windows 7. And the interesting thing, if you read the slide a little bit, is that on January 2020, which is barely 1.5 years from now, we'll be running the end of support on Windows 7. By the way, it will be almost 13-year-old in that moment. So it is like going to the car dealer today, and yes, I want to buy a 2004 Chevrolet Cruze, brand new. Doesn't sound fully right. So just in case, everyone knows, we'll be making the end of support of a more than 13-year-old product in 2020. But what is super important to me, that what is going to happen between all of us is we're going to run a huge PC refresh motion between now and 2020. And that means that all of us and all the partners which are selling PCs, selling devices, or we selling services, is going to be a huge opportunity for us to run it. Are the PCs going to melt down or what? No, nothing. They will continue working, but they no longer have updates. And by the way, since October this year, Windows 7 cannot be sold at all, even as a downgrade option. So all the migration that you have in the back of your mind, that the CEO and our bosses are telling us that we need to migrate, we have to do it. Not only because it is the end of support and we are using a 13-year-old product, also because the new one is giving us a ton of opportunities for trying to develop the new security things, the new devices that I share with you, and the new opportunities of having the mixed cloud and the mixed local computing at the same time. So this is only a little bit more than 1.5 years away. I didn't share with you, we have already more than 700 million devices active with Windows 10. Windows 10 is the most secure platform, and we are willing to help and we are willing to have the right environment to give the most productivity and to achieve our mission. Remember, was to empower every people and organization to achieve more. So this is what we see in the digital transformation. Cloud is super important. There are a lot of opportunities that we can run at this moment. And in all of them, both Microsoft and our ecosystem partner is willing to help. So I think that this one was my last one. Thank you so much. I will be the whole day around if you have any questions or any comment, but hey, more than happy to help. Thank you so much.
Carlos, any questions for Carlos?
Sure. Okay, we have an amazing offer of Xbox this week, $50 off for E3, the big saloon. So if anybody has to make a graduation gift for your kids, feel free. Okay.
I got a question back here.
Advertising moment.
So I have actually two questions. The first is a couple of times you mentioned that you actually carry one of the HP devices rather than one of your branded Surface. So I'm very curious about.
It's in your table. I think I was sitting just beside you. It is there. If you see it. Yeah.
Well, it may not be there when you get back.
Oh, well.
But I'm curious, as someone who travels a lot, what are the characteristics that you look for in a portable device? And then second, can you give us a little insight into where you're headed with devices at Microsoft?
Absolutely. So, hey, two ones. First of all, what I told you, first of all, thin and light is key for me. I don't like to carry on a big thing. I don't like to use a small screen, so I use at this moment between 10 and 11 inches. I like the light vessels, so thin, light, and long battery. Why? Because many of these devices, it is beautiful, but the charger is too heavy for me. So anything that is thin and light, good productivity. Then what I do most of the time, like many of you, is email, internet browsing, Excel, Office. So then I don't need an i7 with 32 gigas of RAM. Sometimes I think I'm using now an i7 with 16, and it is even more than enough. And then a quick hard disk that I love it. So honestly, and then you can laugh at me. I always put a KPI or a maximum amount of dollars that I want to spend on any device. So all my devices, even the corporate ones, has to be less than $1,000. That is my own personal restriction. I change them every year, sometimes twice per year, but those are the things. Thin, light, battery, good for productivity. And then on the Microsoft thing, of course I cannot share with you anything super detailed, but there are things that if you browse the news and the confidentials and the gossip on IT, you see things. Yes, our Surface family is gonna have some extensions, and we continue innovating continuously. So whatever of the devices that you like and the kind of use, we have a solution for you that is complementing the ecosystem. From Surface, which is the first one that we made, the actual Pro, you can go to Book if you want to have a really powerful device. You can go to the laptop, which is a little bit in the lower price range, but a ton of design, or you can go to the All-in-One or the Hub. We try to have a showcase device in every category to show. But yeah, it is super exciting. Take a look. But to all of you that are still using that beautiful MacBook Air, think about if the battery, the lack of touch screen and inking, think about if you should be thinking of an upgrade all across any other brand. Doesn't matter if it is not Microsoft, but I should think about really getting the modern devices and the modern features. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carlos.